Today we're going to be cleaning and servicing a Lasko Ultra Force window the Fien. I'm not sure what the 4-digit model number is for this thing. It never says it on the information tag for some reason. I'll try to find out what it is and post it in the description box at some point. And here's the informations. Interesting, it says patent pending. I don't see that too often on Lasko stuff. This one must have spent a lot of time in the sun, or in a window that was sunny rather. You can see a distinct line where the window would have been here, and then here it was all exposed to the sun. And the back is consequently probably very brittle. This has a little apparatus here to put the cord in. But the clips are still flexible enough to be used. And the side panels, they seem to be relatively integral still. What kind of ridiculous kooky design is this? Why can no company get these side panels right? If I recall correctly, one of these two was out of balance. I want to see if this is the one that was out of balance. Slightly, but not particularly bad. For a Lasko product, it's actually pretty good. Bearings sound pretty dry in this thing. I'm not sure exactly how old these are. I would imagine this is a late 90s product. It has to be prior to like 2002 or 2003 because there's no fused plug yet. Now the Lasko Ultra Force box Fien was late 90s, so this is probably the same era. I have never serviced one of these before, so I don't know how easy or how it's done in the first place. But let's get started. We got a couple of screws up here at the top. And we've got 2 screws over here. These are kind of deep down. And we've got 2 more screws over here. Okay, that's not quite what I was expecting, but that's actually pretty serviceable. If there's some way to detach all these controls. I'm not sure what's holding this on at this point. no idea what's holding this on, because these are all, those two are definitely free, but then this one is like something, it feels like there's an extra screw or something, but I don't see where it is. Tell me it's glued. And this part's the same way. It feels like it should come off, but there's a screw there, but that's not what's keeping it in place. There's a screw on the other side of that, and how the heck you access it. Really, Lasko? Usually Lasko stuff is fairly easy to work on. But this is not. There's something very strange going on here. What the heck? Well, it can't be glued because it's turning. Is there a screw hole under that label? I think there is. I think there's a screw under the label here. That's kind of annoying. Try to heat up this sticker a little bit. See if that makes it easier to get off. Alright, that came off clean. Putting it back on, that's going to be a different story probably. And there's the culprit. The blade is held on with a nut, which is nice. That's the way it should be. It's reverse threaded, but I don't know what the benefit of that is because it's a reversible motor. I wonder if that was some kind of balancing notation in there. It's a pretty steep pitch blade. It's not bad. I feel like it's trying to start warping. Oh, I hope not. Oh, that was pretty easy. Now this can all just go into a dishwasher and clean up. If there's space in the machine, I'll try to expand these panels a little bit so they get cleaned out. I suppose under normal circumstances there would be no real reason to take this off, but this is definitely kind of convoluted. And actually it looks like this broke at some point. This was supposed to be attached somewhere. And this is not opening up because that's just spinning. Alright, here's what the controls look like inside. Pretty reasonable. Yeah, looks good enough quality. I don't like that everything's housed in plastic, but that's just the way things are now. I think that is an actual neon indicator, which is kind of neat. I'll just give this a quick wipe down in here. That's about all we need to do. The air sensor was clogged. Actually, there's a lot of dust inside this control panel. I was not expecting there to be any dust in here. Now this post definitely broke off something else. Alright, now onto the motor. This thing definitely had some hours on it. Motor is, it's starting to get a little bit stiff. And it probably hasn't been oiled in 20 plus years. It has some remnants of some kind of grease or oil that dried up on the back. I don't know what that is. We'll give these bearings a good cleaning. This one, I don't know what the OEM of this is. It doesn't say. There's a lot number and a part number, if that means anything to anybody. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what this is in terms of OEM. We're going to have to tap out that piece in order to slide the bearing off. I do want to slide the bearing off on this because it is getting a little bit stiff. It's not coming out very easily. Use the nail that we used last time. I kept that over here for this purpose. No, this is stubborn. A little bit of rust on the front there, so let's turn this on and polish up the shaft. You can hear it don't sound too good, it's a little squeaky. This definitely needs service. Alright, that looks good. If we meet any resistance on the disassembly process, we'll just polish it down some more. Oh boy. Those are on there tight. Make sure we get a screwdriver that matches the bit perfectly. That's not a good match. That's not a good match. No good. No good. If the bit doesn't fit perfectly solid, it'll strip out in a case like this. That's pretty good. See if I have anything better than that. That's better. Wow, that's way tighter than it needs to be. I'm really getting concerned about this stripping out. I think I'm gonna go get the electric screwdriver. We're going to put it on 1, which is high torque, slow speed. Got a good bit. There we go. You can get a little more leverage with this because the handle is much bigger. I don't understand why those would be put on so tight like that. That's ridiculous. Absolutely no need for that. We can't remove the rotor from the front because the windings don't allow it to do so. Can they come out from the back? Interesting. That has got some very sticky, gummed up oil in there. In the unit's defense, it is... Yeah, wow, look at that. This was a poor quality oil that was used on here. Yes, it is probably over 20 years old, but oil should not look like this. This was very close to locking up. And we gotta clean all this pretty well. We'll polish the shaft down in the garage on the lathe. We'll polish it with Simichrome polish to get all that junk off of there. We'll give it a like new bearing surface. I'm kind of surprised to see this because one of the things that Lasko has actually been consistently really good at over the years is adequate lubrication in their fans. Of course the OEMs for the motors can vary, but this is not usually a problem with Lasko. Alright, that's pretty good. There's a second washer on there, which is also super sticky and dirty. Wow. I'm very curious now to see if the other one I have is going to be the same way. Front's not nearly as bad. In fact, there's really nothing wrong with the front. The front's pretty clean. Interesting. This is actually really bad. This is a pretty severe case of gummed up oil. Shut up, stomach. I'm trying to make a video. Didn't even eat anything weird today. Wow, yeah, that's pretty bad. That is pretty bad. Wow. Not good. Alright, well, we'll sort that out and get it fixed. I knew something was fishy seeing that dried up oil in the back. That's what it was. Literally oil. Just dried up and sticky and gross. Wow. Well, the good thing is it seems to be cleaning up pretty nicely. Go ahead and clean off the stator. Sounds like a ringer. Stator looks pretty well made. Everything's tied down. I don't see many spots with loose windings. Only part I see is right here, and even then it's up against a piece of the string, so it's not bad. There's a loose wire right there. That's not ideal. Try to get this as clean as possible before we re-varnish it. Otherwise we're just like varnishing in dirt. I just re-varnished the motor. I didn't do it on video because I don't have any of the street lights on right now, so you wouldn't have been able to see it anyways. But this is the varnish I use. It is the SprayOn EL-600 varnish, and you just spray it on the windings. Very, very easy process. And this is a great investment if you ever do this kind of work, because it lasts for a long time. You can do probably 15 plus motors with one can. Alright, let's get this shaft cleaned up. This is pretty bad. Alright, so we're going to use this to turn the shaft, and we'll use this Simichrome polish to clean it up. This is a very fine polish, so it's going to take some time to clean the bottom part where it's really bad. So there's what we're going to be looking for on the bottoms. Now we have a mirror-like finish on the shaft. That'll work great. Now we got to get that to match. Alright, that looks pretty good. Certainly work a lot better now. Good as new. In fact, probably even better. Okay, now for the relubrication process, we are going to add some the Zoom Spout oil. This is good to use, or you can use the 3-in-1 only in the blue can, because the blue can is specifically for fans. That's why it has a picture of a fan right on the container. As opposed to the black and red can, which does not have a picture of a fan. It's for wrenches and pliers, or hedge trimmers, whatever the heck those are, power saws, I don't know. The oil needs to go in between the bearing and the holder. It goes in this area here, all around the outside, where there is a felt-like material that holds the oil against the bearing, and the bearing is microscopically porous and will take in oil during operation as needed. It'll take quite a few drops to fill it up all the way. Alright, that might have been a little bit too much. We'll let that soak in for a minute. Now we know that the back bearing is totally dry. Yeah, I put too much oil in the front. Just take some out. What a stinking waste. I hate wasting resources. Jeez, I put way too much in there, or the wick is not absorbing it properly. One of those two, and maybe a combination of both. Alright, let's put this motor back together. This cleaned up fantastic, look at that. Like new. Should work a lot better now. Put a little bit of oil on the thrust washers here. And a drop or so on the shaft itself. And then we'll slide it back into place. Okay, now we'll put the screws back in. And we're not going to put them anywhere near as tight as they were originally. That was totally ridiculous. Use a very low torque setting. Okay. Now just for good measure, we'll add another drop of oil in here. We'll add a drop on the front. Gonna move the shaft around, let that soak in. Now you might find it's kind of stiff at this point. This one's kind of okay, but you just take a screwdriver and whack it a couple of times, move it around in and out. That will line up the bearings. These are self-aligning bearings. I just need a good couple taps and that gets them nice and lined up. Alright, I'll wipe away any excess oil that's dripped out. And this motor is going to be much happier than it was before. It's spinning very smooth and free now. I need to reinstall this. I don't know why that is so difficult to get in and out. Sometimes it's easy, sometimes it's not. This one is not. That's good enough. Does not need to be a work of precision. Wow, look at that glide. Alright, those bearings are in great shape now. Alright, we can go clean off the blade, and then it's just the rest is waiting for the dishwasher to finish. I know we go through this every time I use it, but that foam is like magic. Those are some happy bearings. Excellent. Alright, now we just gotta wait for the dishwasher to finish and we can reassemble. This, I'm not sure what we're gonna do about. I'm thinking that maybe, see, the problem is it's like warped, so we're gonna have to use something very strong to overcome the warpage. Unless I can like maybe stick it to a roll of something and undo the warpage. You know, like stick it like this overnight or something. I don't know, this is going to be a little tricky to figure out. Yeah, I'll have to think about that. I'm not sure yet what we're going to do with that. Looks pretty good now. I suppose this is kind of excusable because during normal cleaning and servicing, you know, the expectation isn't really that you would put the whole thing in the dishwasher, but nonetheless, it's definitely somewhat of an annoying design. Those just don't work well. I think that we're never going to use those. Okay, here it is, all back together, sans the thing. I'll have to figure out what to do with that. I don't know if I'm going to figure that out in the next couple of days, but I will figure out eventually. Maybe some two-sided tape or something is best. I just feel like it's going to come off over time. Wow, it's running much faster than it was before. It's in a reasonable balance. This really does move a nice amount of air. Thermostat's working. Yep, green light came on. It doesn't do much on reverse, but that's to be expected because of the aerodynamics of the blades. Wow, that is really pushing some air. Well, it certainly lives up to its name. You can tell it's a little out of balance on high. We should probably try to balance it at some point. Doesn't shake bad on low though. Very cool. Alright, let's see how those bearings are doing. Much better than before. I just stuck it back on there and it's holding for the moment, but I think it's going to peel up on the edges. But you know what might work for this is that stuff I used to seal the Hampton Bay 1-ton air conditioner evaporator chamber. Maybe I'll use that sealer on this because that's supposed to be a glue as well. Maybe that'll work.